Okay, Courtney, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut prescription transition lenses for your Versace. Bringing it back, taking you back to Brooklyn. They have re-released the vintage Biggie Smalls sunglasses. Woo! Check these bad boys out. Check these bad boys out. With the lion head on there, that black and gold. The Versace. Alright, let me go ahead and get started. This is the model number 4265, size 57, color GB1. So the first thing I'm going to do on your Versaces, let me move your box and case out of the way so I can keep working. I'm going to pop your dark lenses out. Come on out, come on out. Come out, wherever you are. There you go. Take your original lenses out. And I'm going to put your Italian frame into my Italian Santinelli LE1000 edger. And the first thing it's going to do is trace the shape of your right lens. Then it's going to move over and trace the shape of your left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy the frame, you get 3 high-quality single-vision polycarbonate lenses. They are actually virtually unbreakable. They are bulletproof up to 22 caliber and have both UVA and UVB protection. So, let me see what we got here. I covered up your phone number so all those men can't come find you. All right, let me type in your PD of 70. This is a polycarbonate lens being cut for a plastic frame. Oops, plastic. Let me go back to plastic. There we go. And let's go ahead and get started. Your prescription is -1, -150 at 170. I'm going to take your lens out of its protective case, spin the axis wheel on my Marco 101 lensometer to 170, turn the power drum to -1, put this in there, get everything lined up perfectly. Get your sphere power lined up, check your astigmatism, that is perfect. And I'm going to explain all that for you in just a little bit. Now I've got some dots on there you can't see, so I'm going to hold this up to the light so I can see them better. Use my pen to mark them, and this is the right lens. Let's do the same thing for the left. -1, -1 at 9. Spin the wheel to 9. Give the sphere power lined up of -1. Put your lens in it and rotate it until it comes into focus. Clamp it down, check your astigmatism correction. Everything is lined up perfectly in the center of my crosshairs. Put some dots on there so I can see those. A little bit later we'll have to measure, and that is the left lens. So I'm going to put this block on here. This is what holds it in place while it is cutting. I'm going to put that there. And put this pad on here for while it's cutting. Release the tape so I got the sticky side showing. Get everything lined up literally just like in the crosshairs of a scope. Put the block on it for the right lens. Let me do the same thing for the left. I'll put that in there. Line everything up perfectly. And let's begin cutting. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put your unbreakable bulletproof lens into the chuck. And the LMU is going to come down and trace the shape of your, well, got to hit start. You know, this machine costs $30,000. You think for that kind of money you'd have one that would start automatically, that would read your mind, but no, you still got to hit the start button. This is going to trace the shape of your frame onto the lens. Now this whole process takes about 15 minutes. It's now 7:42 on Wednesday, March 26th, 40 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, at least according to my Samsung Gear watch. And if we have time, I'm going to try and put some tint on here on top of your lenses so that I know the transition, so when they go outside, but I want you to look really good when you're at the club wearing these. And I think a tint will set it off. But for now, I'm going to have to close the door, but I want you to see as your lens touches the cutting wheel. So these frames sell for $225. You paid the extra $50 to get the transition. Make a total of $275. That is a beautiful Versace frame. Of course, if I put these lenses back in there, this is the one that Biggie wore in all his videos. He is missed. On the inside of this temple, hopefully you can see where it says the iconic Archive Edition. You got the Versace made in Italy, and you even got your own serial number on the inside of the right temple. Actually, let me change it. I couldn't see up close. It's written on the other one. As you can see, the lens is still completely flat going around. It will move over in just a minute to put the bevel onto the lens. Now comes the bevel. Just a moment, this will stop, and I will take your lens out and see if it fits into your frame. Out comes the lens. Use a paper towel to dry it off so it's not slippery. One last thing I want to do before I try and mount your lens. You still have some rough edges on the sides. Let me clean up my mess here. We'll go around the edge of your lens. Put a safety bevel on there. I'm going to use my thumbnail to scrape away the optical sawdust. You see it hanging there. I'm going to drop that onto the counter. And once I get all of it off your lens, and once all of it is onto the counter, I wipe it onto the floor and remind kids, I went to school for years to learn how to wipe stuff on the floor. Don't expect to be able to do it as well as me on day one. So stay in school. All right, so to test the lens and see if it fits, I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner without hitting the buttons on the edger. And I'm going to use my thumbs and press down. It snaps in perfectly. Oops, stop. I'm going to pop that back out. And let's start cutting your left lens. Actually, there's no need to remove it. I must put that back in there just so I can test one thing about it. I need to check the prescription. So let me flip it over and hit left. Open up the chuck. And hit start. Just like before, the LMU is going to come down and trace the shape of your frame onto the lens to make sure the lens is large enough to fit into the frame, which it is. I always measure ahead of time. It is tracing the concave side of the lens first, which is closest to your eyelashes. Then it's going to scoot over and trace the convex side of the lens, using the calipers to measure the thickness, knowing exactly where to put the bevel on the lens so it stays inside the frame perfectly. The cutting wheel is actually down here on the bottom. It's that lighter grit. It's the lighter color. It's the heavy grit sandpaper that's going to grind away your bulletproof material. And while that gets started, I'm going to go ahead and keep working on there. I'm going to take this block off. It is no longer needed. I'm going to put it into my lensometer and verify the prescription is correct. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 170. Put it in. Check the power that I get -1. Perfect. Another -1 to correct for your astigmatism. We are good to go. Now your prescription reads -1, -150 at 170. Your left eye is -1, -1 at 9. The unit of measurement that we use in the optical field is called the diopter. We don't use gallons, ounces, or pounds. It is a diopter. Everything is in quarter increments, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1. So you need 4 steps of correction to get everything the correct size with your lenses. Without your glasses on, everything you look at is actually larger than it appears in real life. So when you put your glasses on, it will minify down to the correct size. You need 4 steps of correction to get everything the correct size. You need 6 steps of correction for your astigmatism. This first number gets everything the correct size. The second number, your astigmatism, takes away the fuzzy edges. So 6s and 8s, P's and F's don't look alike. And this tells us where to turn everything to make the fine-tune it, to take away the fuzzy edge. Now your left lens does not need as much correction. You still need the same amount of correction to minify, to get everything the correct size. Your astigmatism correction, you only need 4 steps as opposed to 6 in your right eye. And then we turn the knob to 9 to make everything nice and clear. So in just a moment we'll take this out and make sure it fits. I'm going to verify the prescription, then I'm going to pop your lenses out and try and put some tint into your lenses. So when you're chilling at the club with your Versace's on, Versace, everything's going to look good. Yo, where's my Migos at? Where's my Versace's at? But yeah, I have access to Gucci, Prada, Versace, Ray-Ban, Polo. Who am I leaving out? Dolce & Gabbana, Coach, whatever you need, holler at me. Email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. I'll be glad to take care of that for you. So I'm going to take that out now, dry your lens off, put the safety bevel onto the lens. Run my thumbnail over that, get everything off, that optical sawdust off the edge of your lens, off of my finger, onto the counter. Once everything is off, then it's onto the floor. So I'm going to pop this in now, at least try to see if it fits. I'm going to tuck that outside corner in and use my thumbnails, press down, that snaps in perfectly. I'm going to take this block off. I'm going to dry everything off again that was underneath the sticker, and using the back side of your card, from that one red dot in the center to that one, we're going to get 70 millimeters, of which we are. So your glasses are made correctly. These will fit you perfectly between your optical centers. I'm going to put this back into my Marco 101 lensometer, spin the axis wheel to 9, put that in there. I am getting -1 combined power. Well, I'm sorry, the sphere power. With your astigmatism correction, I'm getting -2. So, one thing I always do is make sure your frame's in standard alignment, meaning when I put it on the counter, there is no wobble. I flip it over, that is perfect. Each hinge overlaps the other perfectly with the same amount of tension. Now I'm going to pop your lenses out, clean them up, and I'm going to put some tint in there for you. Move everything over. I'm going to clean all the dots off. I'm using my optical grade acetone to make sure everything is completely clean with your lens. I'm going to use my cleaning cloth to pull it out and dry your lens off. Make sure there's no fingerprints or anything before I move to the next stage, which is applying the dark gray gradient tint, where like your windshield is going to be dark at the top and then fade to clear. So I'm going to go over and do that. Flip over that personal information. Take these lenses out because that's where I got to work in the dark gray. I've got my little dipping calipers. You put one lens in there and now the other. And this is a hot dye. It's just like doing Easter eggs. I'm only submerging half the lens into there. As you can see, I'm going to move this back and forth. If it just sits in here still, you'll get a straight line on your lens. That does not look good. So I just weave it back and forth. Now, the tint, like I said, this is a hot dye, just like doing Easter eggs. It does fade over time. If I were to wash this shirt of mine, my white shirt with blue print, if I were to wash it 50 times in a year, or if I wash it every week 52 times, it would not be as blue as it is when it's new. The same thing when you clean your lenses, a little bit of that tint's going to come off, ever so slight. Plus the sun's going to bleach it out. I've got some curtains in my living room. One side of the living room that doesn't get the sun looks brand new, and the other side where it sits in the sun looks like those curtains belong to my grandmother. They're all faded and the sun will just bleach the color. So come see me after a year. I'll put some more tint in there for you at no charge, the same way I'm tinting now at no charge. and I'll just freshen up your lens a little bit. So let me pull these out, run them with some cold water and look on them. I'm going to pop these lenses out, put them on the counter. I got a little bit, but I want to do some more. So I'm going to stand here for another minute and keep babbling while I keep tinting your lenses. If anyone has any questions, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. I will respond back to you as quick as possible, but I can put any prescription lens into any frame. What time is it? I want to make sure I don't go over my 20 minutes. Don't go over my 20 minutes because YouTube's going to cut me off and turn this into 2 videos. So that's that. I'm going to pull that out, wash this off. Take your lenses out. That's looking better. That's looking better. I'm going to dry everything off and then mount these back into your frame. Start with the left. Pop that in. We're good to go. Do this with your right. We are good to go. I'm just going to hold these up so you can see how it's a gradient tint, how it starts off darker at the top and then fades to clear. And of course, let me go ahead and activate these and turn them dark. I've got an ultraviolet light in my little transitions unit. And as you can see, all transition lenses are going to darken on day 1. It takes 30 to 45 seconds for them to darken, a little bit slower when you come back inside, 45 seconds to a minute 15. But all transition lenses will turn dark on day 1. Give them 2 weeks. They're going to continue to darken for the first 2 weeks till they get to their final setting. After that, you'll have years of maximum performance. The only time they will not work is when you're behind the wheel in a traditional car. Your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays so your upholstery doesn't rot or your dashboard doesn't crack from sitting in the sun. That's why they won't turn dark in the car. Now, as soon as you get out of the car, they will turn dark. Now, they're temperature sensitive, meaning they work best in cooler temperatures, or at least once it gets into the 90s, and particularly upper 90s, they just don't get as dark as it does at 80 and below. It's just that when it's in the high 90s, you're miserable, your glasses are miserable, everyone's miserable. So as you can see, they do turn dark on day 1. They're going to continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks so they get to their final setting. But Cortney, I really appreciate it. You could have gotten your Versace's Biggie Smalls, model number 4265, size 57, color GB1, the classic shiny black. It also comes in a tortoise gold if you don't want the black gold. But that's that. If you have any questions, just email me. I'll respond quickly. And Cortney, hope you enjoyed watching your glasses being made. And everyone else out there can see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.